Your bumpuses are now recording. Hooray.
Speaking of the bumpuses, Mom was in town this week, and so I wasted a whole lot of time doing Christmas stuff. But one of the best times was going to buy a Christmas tree at Home Depot the day before Thanksgiving with her and Elliot.
Yeah.
And Elliot was like maniac level Christmas spirit. You know, you were on the phone with us for a while.
He out-elfed Will Ferrell.
Yes, he did. He out-elfed Will Ferrell.
Hello, and welcome to the I Love You Bet podcast. I'm Heather, and this is my sister,
Rian. Each week, we will revisit relics of our childhoods using our multiple master's degrees
to critically evaluate the crap that consumed our misspent youth. So join us,
sisters, latchkey kids, cuspers, and lazy feminists as we look back at our past to say, I love you, but...
So we're in Home Depot and we have to like push every electronic thing and, can I have the 5-6 foot tall Santa that's $300? No. And all the no, let's go outside and look at the trees. Let's go outside, look at the trees. Look at it. So we get outside and we look at the trees.
I can't believe Mom asked for all that stuff.
She's a thirsty bitch.
It was Elliot asking for everything in the world?
Of course it was Elliot asking for everything in the world. So, but Mom did find a new singing electronic toy, so that was good. We were pushing a lot of them. I was like, this is just disappointing. Because,
borderline racist, but also like weirdly funny.
Yeah, it is a little problematic. Like, because in the store, it was so loud. Like, we didn't hear the accent.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't hear the accent until we were playing it in the car, and I was like, "Oh, don't show that." So
it's a pickle. It's a plush pickle.
Yeah,
that's holding pickleball and sings in a German accent.
Yeah,
and then its eyebrows. Yeah, and its eyebrows wiggle, and that's the best part because it goes.
Well, yeah, the wiggling eyebrows is what made us laugh so hard because the rule is it has to make us like laugh uncontrollably. Yes. For it to be purchased.
Correct.
But yeah, so we got it in the car and it was playing and I was like, oh, it has an accent. Like, Mom, please don't show that to Herbert.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think, isn't it Germany that started the
pickle tradition? Pickle thing? Yeah.
So, I mean, there's something, but then again, that makes it less random and therefore
more intentionally racist or culturally insensitive.
So we got a problematic pickle that sings in our house now. What else did you find at Home Depot? Pickle.
Yes.
What else did you find at Home Depot the day before Thanksgiving?
Well, we did get a Christmas tree.
Oh, okay.
So Elliot goes out and he's like, I want to make that tree. Mm-hmm. But he's just like running from tree to tree. Like he would like drag them out. It wasn't just like this tree. It was like he would grab it and like, and I'm walking with a cane because my knee's acting up because I need another cortisone injection. And Mom's, not super fast either. So he's got these like old women behind him, like hobbling to keep up. And he's just like grabbing trees and pulling them out, and, like leaving them in the walkway. Luckily, there was no one else there.
Right.
There was like 2 guys working. And so, and Mom and I are like, okay, let's, and we spend a few moments actually looking at a tree, like, and then he runs over to the 8-foot trees. And I'm like, honey, no, those are too tall. And like, to his credit, every single time I had to like redirect him back toward the 5-foot trees, 4 to 5 foot trees, and not the 6 to 8 foot trees. He was like, okay. So, and then, we got a tree. In hindsight, I wish I had had more time because there's one part about it that I don't like. There's like a real big gap at the top. Like they're shitty trees. So.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I've just decided that as soon as he like grows out of this, then we're just going to buy an artificial tree.
Oh, wow.
I know.
The thing you fought your whole life.
The thing I fought my whole life. I mean, I might change my mind, but that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. Is it so that the cat won't climb it?
No, it's not because of that. It's just, it's just money, I mean, it's financially more, and I'm sure the tree industry isn't great for the environment. I don't know.
I think it's great for the environment.
It's a fucking pain in the ass. Okay. I'll admit it. It's a goddamn pain in the ass.
Okay. I'm down.
I mean, we'll see where he's at. And I don't know. I mean, it's going to be like 5 to 7 years, I think, before he grows out of this.
Yeah.
So we'll see where we're at. But anyway,
can't wait.
So we pick out a tree, and there's like 2 old boys working who are not at all friendly, have said nothing to us.
Yeah.
They're messing with some speaker trying to get it working. And so I'm like using my cane, and the tree is another cane to like walk over into the tree. And so I was like, hi. And they're like, do you want us to wrap it? I'm like, yes, please. Do all the things that you can do. Please. Yeah. And Elliot's going nuts. And so it's like, I like, I need the tag to pay for it. And I'm like, we don't have a register out here. You have to go inside. And they're like, do you want us to cut the bottom? And all that. And I was like, yeah. And then Mom starts acting like she's going to tell them to cut more branches. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to leave you here. You're in charge of the tree. Ellie and I are going to go inside and pay. So we hobble inside, and like Lowe's and Home Depot, they've got their like registers all the way on like one end, Yeah,
I know.
And so we self-checkout, and I, pay for it. And then I go back out. But like the gate, the garden center has like a gate usually, or has a gate that you can go in. Well, that's locked and closed. So we had to go into the store. That's why we had to go through the store.
Okay.
So I go back out to the gate, and she's there on the other side of the gate with the tree. And she's like, I think you have to like drive around. And I'm like, there's no other entrance, Mom. I don't have to drive around to the back. Like there's no other entrance to the garden area. What are you talking about? So then finally the young guy comes up, and I was like, can I pull my car up? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I'm like, Mom, go buy your pickle.
Yeah.
So she goes to buy her pickle. The guy comes, and he's like, do you want to put it on your car? I was like, yes, please. Like, I have a cane and a small child. Yes, please put it on my car, So he puts it on the car, and I was like, could I have some twine? He's like, oh, do you want like one long piece? Yes. So he goes and gets the twine, and I'm like, all right, Elliot, you get in the car and help me tie the tree to the car. And so I've rolled the windows down, and I'm tying the tree to the car, and he's helping me get the rope from one side of the car to the other. He's being great. And then Mom has bought her pickle, but instead of exiting the store like a normal fucking person,
she came back the same way.
She came back to the gate through the store, and the gate's closed, and it has like a chain on it. It's not locked. But then she's like trying to like push this gate open and like squeeze herself. I was like, what are you doing? I can't get it. I was like, go back. And so then I'm still messing with the fucking tree. And I look over, and she's still like, because then I hear like, I'm like, look back. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. Like, just go back and exit the store like a normal person. And the whole time there's this like old boy white dude with a delivery truck just standing there watching all of this take place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then Mom comes back out, and I'm like, okay, like get in the car because I'm done tying it to the tree. Well, she goes to open the car, and I had tied the car door shut. Because you
put the windows down.
I rolled the windows down, but with the car door shut. I didn't think about that. So I untied the front half, and I was like, just get in the front. And it's like, like, shut. So she opens the door, and she helps me tie the front part back on. I'm like, let's go. And then I took her to Catalpa Street to see all of the pretty yellow ginkgo trees, even though they had like half lost their leaves. And it was very much the moon on the wings of geese flying that she wants in her life. And she was like, oh, yes. Oh, I was like, and that's why we came here. Yay. So that's my one story I'm going to tell you about wasting time this week while Mom was here.
It's good. Yeah. I didn't really have time to waste time. It was a lot. None of it is interesting. I wish it were interesting.
You've been driving a lot.
It's been a lot of driving. It's been a lot of estate selling. It's been a lot of people management. Somebody shorted me $1,000 yesterday through Zelle, so that's awful. But I'm so tired. It's whatever. But the one funny thing that did happen, so there's the sharper image stereo that it looks like an open book. If you can imagine a metal book, it's hard to describe. But anyway, it's one of those like something Diane bought for Eddie because they're had money and didn't know what to buy for each other, whatever.
It's like something out of Sky Mall.
Yeah. And yesterday I went the whole house is Sky Mall. I went in yesterday and it was playing Christmas music. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I came back later and it was playing country music and Charlie was in there. And he was like, I don't know how it got on country music. And Mary came in. She was like, I changed it. I was like, okay. And then I went in like an hour later and it was playing Kuzu because Charlie changed. So, like Radio Wars in here. This is ridiculous.
It was like the Radio Wars of your friends.
Yes, yeah. Well, and a stranger who put it on Christmas music first. So, but it was kind of fun. It's been super stressful, but if anybody needs to know how to or how not to run an estate sale, I have lots of tips now. And also I have about 30 minutes before I gotta get ready to go back down to Dallas. So, what do you remember about A Christmas Story from 1983, Rian Davis?
I remembered less than I thought I would because I have not watched this movie in a long time because I don't enjoy this movie as much as I guess everyone else in America. But I remembered the leg lamp, the bumpuses, fucking evil Santa, you'll shoot your eye out, A+++++, soup in the math. I don't know what that means. And the kid in the snowsuit.
Okay.
Soap in the mouth, not soup.
Soap in the mouth. That makes more sense. Soup in the math. Title.
Soup in the math.
I remember basically everything. I have watched this recently. Dad and I watched it a few years ago. And and then you've heard this, and I apologize, but I was surprised by how much Ralphie cries and how it's fine, and how it should be fine because he's human and human beings cry. So yeah, I'm glad about that. But yeah, so I wanted to get into this. So I had a question. I wanted to talk about why the daydreaming in this movie makes you uncomfortable and how it might be related to puppets.
Yeah, it's probably like, it's definitely the stuff with the kids that makes me like the most, like, like I don't like just how mean they are to each other and like.
Yeah, but that's real.
Yeah, it doesn't mean I enjoy watching it. Like, you know, like.
I think until you can forgive your childhood, you're not going to enjoy anything.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, like, it just makes childhood seem like not the happy time.
Well, that's why they had Christmas. And it's also his heightened memories of childhood, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
I mean, I know.
He's not going to remember the day-to-day.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying I don't enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a Bluey episode, right? Like, it's not about the everyday experience of childhood. It's an adult looking back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
have you watched the one with him as grown up? Like the sequel they did a few years ago? I haven't watched that either, so. But it's just, like the little brother's annoying and everyone's so
little
mean.
Brothers are annoying.
I know. I just, they're just too real, I guess.
Oh, poor Ryan can't deal with reality. Gene Shepard is such a clever writer. I loved starting it off talking about the yearly bacchanalia.
I wrote that down. I was like, what the fuck is bacchanalia? Like, and
it's like when the Greeks would get together and like just drink wine and have orgies.
Yes, it's a wild drunken party to celebrate the god Bacchus, the god of wine. Yeah. So I looked it up. There are definitely some words and phrases that I was like, we should bring this back.
Oh yeah, he's a very good writer.
I mean, I had a whole era of bacchanalia and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I'm in my bacchanalia era. No, I'm not.
So, do you think Christmas is more special if you live where it's cold and snowy?
No, not necessarily, because like I lived in Texas and I mean, it's not as cold and snowy here as it is in northern Indiana, but like, yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Or, I mean, really, the reality of cold and snowy is not that great. So really, it's just romanticizing all of it.
I
right?
think it's romanticized because the reality is not that great. And I think that it has to do, like, I think it goes back to like a representation thing, right? Like, because if you see how Christmas is represented in like everything that we grew up with, it's all snow and chimneys and white people and cooking, you know what I mean? And so, like, I mean, like, the whole premise of White Christmas is like, oh, there's no snow, Christmas is canceled, but, you know? So I think that it is very, like, a very curated idea of what Christmas should be, like, commercially curated idea of what Christmas is. So, yes, because of that.
I liked when they showed the store window with all the toys.
Yes.
I love that because they focused on individual toys within the display. Also, so it had a greater impact. Also, if anyone listening is interested in vintage metal toys, I have some for sale right now.
Hit her up.
There's a lot.
I do admit, like, it made me think about, because I just read a novel that wasn't that great, but it was about like a person decorating a window for Christmas, and I was like, is this not something that happens anymore? Does it only happen in big cities? And then I thought about when we were in London around Christmas at Thanksgiving, and like the window, like Harrods and those windows, and they were decorated, you know. So, and like on the square, do people do window dressing?
They kind of do displays. It's not to this extent. Mostly what they do in Dutton on the square is they do the painting. You know, they like.
Oh, yeah. That has become more popular, I think, too. Yeah.
Yeah, which is less exciting.
Do you
get that mannequin in there? Where's Hollywood?
Hollywood. I did write at the beginning because I wrote Black people, because there was that one random group of Black carolers singing not a Christmas song around a trash can fire, which was interesting, but or an open fire. I'm assuming it was a trash can. But then I want to know: do you think that this is the NRA's favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, because of the gun.
But then he does kind of shoot his eye out, so I'm like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a more interesting movie because he does get injured. I enjoy that. Sort of being the driver for the film. I mean, what's nice about it is it does seem to sort of sanitize Christmas in a lot of ways, and, you know, sort of idealize. But at the same time, I think that Gene Shepherd is a good writer, and the reason that these stories are compelling is because he will complicate it, right? Yeah, and he'll add irony and twist things. So, but yeah. So
I
being
think I
a teacher,
do like that. There's nothing religious about it. Like, I mean, there's some songs that, you know, but there's no like, and we're going to church or
right. Yeah. Well, definitely more reasonably matched our experience because of that.
Yes. Well, we did have to go to church though, but.
Yeah. Being a teacher, I would not want to hold all of those spitty teeth in my hands.
Yeah. As soon as she stuck her hand out, I was like, no, ma'am.
Grab the trash can. Grab the
drawer. Just spit them in the drawer.
I did like that they all had a little.
Sells those back to places and like that's her side hustle. Like when kids leave Stanley cups in my classroom, I'm like, eBay. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that the flagpole scene might be good for Elliot to watch so that he can understand when it's appropriate to have a meltdown. Like, if you
I think it's appropriate for him to
part,
watch that so he learns not about peer pressure and how he shouldn't fall to it.
There are many reasons that Elliot would benefit from watching this scene.
Luckily, he's very smart, so I think he would understand the physics and the whatever of it to be like, no, I'm not putting my tongue on that coal pole because it will stick to it. There's one really good lesson in this movie that I think people should really take to heart. Separate beds is such a good idea. even for adults. Like, fine, sleep in the same room, whatever. But why we ever thought it was a good idea for people to sleep in the same bed. I want to find the book.
Past a certain age. I mean, I think when you're younger, it's not that big a deal. But like, as our bodies age, they're not designed for cohabitating in that way.
No. Yeah. Like, was it the bed sales company? I'm going to write a book.
Okay. Sounds like a really boring
But go
book.
ahead. I did like that his cowboy costume was so sparkly.
Oh, it was. I did like
shiny.
I was wondering if I modeled my body after that teacher, because we had very similar body types. And then I was reading through the facts on IMDb, and I found out she was 8 months pregnant when she was.
She was 8 months pregnant?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know why. Maybe production got delayed. She got hired, and then I don't know. But
I'm just shocked by the fact that she didn't look fuck. Okay. I love this hair in like what? I don't know, 5th grade?
He was supposed to be 8 or 9. So
okay.
3rd or 4th.
So he's in 2nd or 3rd grade and they're reading Silas Marner?
Yeah. 3rd or 4th grade, yeah.
Also, didn't know George Eliot was a woman. May have heard that somewhere, didn't stick. So that was fun to find out.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk about Scott Farkas?
No.
Okay, cool.
I think every wife ever embarrassed by her husband ever will always remind me of our mother. Always.
I was watering my plant.
Mm-hmm.
The hair turned out her face behind her hair. Like, they know where you live. They know who you are. Like, yeah. I mean, I think the line, but one before that, my mother had not had a hot meal in 15 years line really just resonates with me.
It always stuck with me, but it didn't really have any meaning for me until Elliot came along and Dad was sick and all that. And then I was like, oh yeah, no, this is a real thing. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah. And I'm not, like, I will tell, like, Ben, can you get him this? Ben, can you get, like, I'm not constantly the one who's getting up. And now that he's 5, it's like, go do that yourself.
Yeah.
But like, now that I got back on Instagram, which I'm probably going to delete it again, but whatever, and there's like reels about moms getting up at 4 a.m. and making all noise because they have to make the turkey. And I'm like, bitch, I catered Dickies for $140. Like, if you don't enjoy making Thanksgiving, don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
And don't complain about it, And
also, why do you have to do it?
Yeah. Right. And like, I was having a conversation.
Like, at least in this, she was a housewife. Like, she didn't have a job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she had a job. Her job was taking care of the house and
taking care of the house.
That,
yeah. Like, that was her job. So it's like, if you have a full-time job, you shouldn't be the only one doing this shit. Like talking with, someone yesterday about, the girl who's doing poorly in school. And it's like, she need, talking about the mother, she needs to do this. She needs to do this. She needs to do this. And I was like, so does he. He is also her parent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the mother. Like, they both work. No, like, God damn it. Stop this shit. Like, stop this fucking shit. Anyways, okay. And we've had our little feminism moment, so.
And scene. And other things. I mean, obviously, we watched this movie so much growing up.
I mean, we watched it every year. Dad loved this movie.
Yes, Dad loved this movie a lot. So other things that definitely remind me of our family. So shouting the Christmas carols in the car.
Oh my God, yes. I was like, oh, okay.
And then I think that, like the old man, we work in profanity as a medium of art.
I think we do.
And then I think that what's interesting is so far that, last week we definitely had a movie that was showing the contention and the tensions between Christmas and capitalism. Uh-huh. And I love that the decoded message
is drink more Ovaltine. Yes.
It was like, what a way to realize that capitalism is soul, like, as a child. Like,
yep. The disappointment that capitalism controls everything. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I don't know if we need to go in this right now, but at some point I think we need to have a conversation about what actually is the beginning and ending of a line.
A line?
Well, because when they went to Santa, the guy was like, the line ends here and it begins back there. And that's not what I think of about the beginning and the ending of a line.
Oh, yeah.
The
either.
end of the line is the end.
Right. Yeah.
And the
no,
beginning of the line is the front, but I can see. So this is like one of those things, like back in olden days when the word terrific meant terrifying and terrible.
Yes.
The beginning of the line was actually the end of the line.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we switched it. That doesn't make any sense.
Like, I see how it makes sense, but it's still wrong. So
yes. Yeah. So I looked up some facts. They weren't super interesting, but I did discover that apparently this movie was the inspiration for the Wonder Years. So.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, with the narration. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, without Christmas Story, you don't get the Wonder Years. And the only reason they let Bob Clark, the director, make this movie, he'd been developing it for years, was because he made Porky's. And he agreed to direct another horror movie for them. So without all that, they would
talk about sacrificing for your art. Ooh.
Well, somebody was going to make Porky's.
Yeah. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
Why was that teacher grading with a fucking crayon?
That's a great question, too. I don't know.
That teacher was so many things.
Are nighttime parades common? I was very confused by that.
No, I feel like they used to be.
Oh, you think so?
I think it depends. Like, I don't think anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I could see why, like, a Christmas parade at night would be because of, like, the lights.
Yeah.
Well, the Thriller parade's at night.
Mardi Gras parades typically are.
Yeah,
night.
Mardi Gras parades are at night. And I was just thinking of another one that I forgot about, but okay. That I then immediately forgot. But
they did a Twilight parade for Day of the Dead, so.
Yeah, I feel like nighttime parades are, like, kind of the thing.
Okay.
Depends on the level of bacchanalia happening at the parade.
Right.
I'm telling you, you're going to hear that word everywhere from me now.
Oh, really?
Choose it, guys.
Discovered bacchanalia in 8th grade and left it behind there, but cool. You go. You do you, girl.
I'll forget by tomorrow.
Bacchanalia it up. I do think it's lovely how many Christmas things that they do, like kind of seeing all of their traditions, and definitely, of course, puts me in mind of all of ours. And I think that's.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, that's part of the charm and appeal of Christmas, right? That's part of the magic is that it's, traditions. Like, even if you don't have any now, start some. Like, just do it because it's lovely. Like, life is awful.
Yeah, like the whole, like, and I think for me too. So the endings, so not the ending scene, but one of the scenes at the end, like with the mom and the dad watching the snow in the dark.
Yes.
Like that to me is like kind of a representation of like what Christmas is for me. Like I feel like for me, Christmas is like a way to pause and reflect and think about like the year and the year before that and the year before, you know what I mean? And just think like the memories and like take moment of joy in that, which is why it's like I try really hard not to be miserable because so many people like want the holidays like to manufacture Christmas to be something so magical that they just make themselves absolutely miserable which is why I was like, okay, I'm not going to cook all the things. I can buy it, it costs just as much, and then I have time, like,
to be not cooking.
Yeah. I mean, then I enjoy cooking, but not that much.
Yeah.
So, and not doing things that don't bring me joy just because it's a tradition too. I think that's an important thing about traditions is that you also have to
be willing to let them go.
Be willing to let them go and let them change.
Yeah.
So.
Sleeping back into the movie for a moment, I did forget. I thought that the Santa scene with the sadistic elves happened a lot earlier.
Yeah, it happened really later in the movie than I remember too.
Yeah, I was like, is this?
I like how Santa was his last resort.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
Santa, that fucker.
well, there's also like he's just. I mean, all children are subject to the whims of their parents, right?
Yeah.
So it's not really a choice. I do think that the guy they cast as the old man is one of the best castings that's ever been done. Like,
Yes.
He's just so good at it. Like, he's great.
Yeah.
Who was it? Dennis Hopper? Jack Nicholson wanted to play him. Which is like, no.
Mm-mm.
All I can think of is The Shining. Like,
yeah, exactly.
No.
Like, mm-mm. Like, I mean, yes, there's an element of scariness about him.
Yes.
But not that level.
Yeah, not creepy. He's not creepy.
No.
Yeah, he's stern. And unpredictable.
And distant, yes.
The gluttonous joy of unwrapping presents, which
oh my God, they did that scene really well. Except for one thing, that mother was unwrapping too many presents. Like, there's no way that mother got that many presents to unwrap.
She put them under the tree for herself. She was like, and another one for me. And another one for me. And one for wrapping. And another one for me. So Randy is to his Zeppelin as Elliot was to his water bottle.
My water bottle.
Yeah, your water bottle.
That was so cute. Is that picture going in his birthday montage?
Yes, of course it is. Okay. Yes. So when we recently were on vacation, friends, Elliot can't fall asleep. Like he's a not sleeper. He's a not eater and a not sleeper. He's the best. And she says ironically. But anyway, he and little Augustus went off to play together and they were watching something and Elliot actually fell asleep. But it
was like 1 a.m. or something.
I know. He's so sensory needy that he was like clutched around Ryan's giant water bottle. So literally when they showed little Randy clasping his Zeppelin, I was like, oh Lord. It's Elliot Finn.
Bless his little heart.
I know. So I was like, yeah, we probably should have canceled this movie because of the restaurant scene. But then also they pretended to have integrated schools. So maybe
there was like, it like went back and forth. Like there was like one other thing where they said something and, that I was like, oh, that's not okay. But, oh yeah. Like when he was like talking about his dad negotiating.
Oh yeah.
Better than an Arab or something. I was like, oh, nope.
Yep. Also, one more fact. They gave a doctored script to the mother, the actress who played the mother, so that she didn't know what was going to happen in the restaurant scene at all.
No.
So she's like laughing when they're singing. And then when they bring the duck out, she's like...
And they cut the head off. Yeah, so those are all real
and then they chop the head off. Everyone else knew it was going to happen, but she didn't know. So every reaction she has there is completely authentic. It's like so good. And it's also why they have that really wide shot where it's like back and it's the whole family and everybody. And you can see all of it. And, it's just like one take. So it's pretty funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, I thought that, and a couple of nice things. I mean, there's a way that you could film this, especially because it has a narrator where it never, because it's considering itself all the time, you never have any nice breathing moments. And most movies these days don't. Like, they might take a moment to have like a humor, but that's about it. Like, they're not going to have any kind of quiet moments. And so I thought, like you mentioned, that moment that the parents have together, and then when Ralphie wakes up on Christmas and everything's just covered in ice, and they really take time to like pan across the yard and sort of show all the ice everywhere. And of course, that also was foreshadowing for what happens with his BB gun. But
we won't ruin that for you, for the one person in the world that hasn't watched this movie.
Yes, yeah. I would say if you're a white person and you haven't seen this movie, you should probably watch it.
I mean, I really would say that USA showing it 24 hours straight kind of ruined this movie.
It's TNT and TBS or something like
Whatever.
that. Whatever.
One of those awful stations that just show it over and over again for 24 hours straight is like, no.
Do you want to hear me say something obnoxious that's a cliche, but it's also true?
Always.
I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life all the way through.
I think
that is why it's not on this list. Because technically, I've never watched it. I've seen parts of it.
I was in the play. We did the play one year, so.
That's
but yes, so I have seen it all the way through. Clarence. Mom loved that one, didn't she?
I mean, everybody loves everything. I don't know. I can't keep track of her. I got to keep track of too many other things.
It's a goddamn cliche.
It really was. Like in the 90s, there were a whole bunch of people who were like,
oh yeah, it's the best Christmas movie ever. I'm like, every time my parents you get to swim. Shut the fuck up.
I'd rather watch A Christmas Story and hear my dad laugh, guffaw, and fall on the floor and all that.
Yes.
Hear it in my memory brain. So that's it, y'all. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. We still have more holidays to come. Next week, we're going to go hardcore nostalgia with a triple feature of A Charlie Brown Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and The Grinch. All the originals for that. Tell us what you think. What we forget? What made you cringe? What made you laugh? What should we talk about in future episodes? We want to hear your thoughts. You can find us on Threads and on Instagram at I Love You But Pod. And you can also email us at iloveyouButPod@gmail.com. I did get feedback from a friend of a friend who was made to listen to the podcast.
And they said that you talk too fast at the end, and that's why you're talking so slowly now?
No. They said that we talk too fast, period, and she couldn't understand us. And I said, I have a feeling that the friend who was playing it for you probably listens to their podcasts at like 20% faster. That's what I do. She was like, maybe. And I was like, it's not for everyone. And then we changed the subject.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think we talk that fast. Like,
yeah, it's fine. Hey, if you like us, awesome. We like you. But if you could help us out, it's Christmas. It's the time to take time and help people. If you could rate,
small business
review.
Saturday, bitches. We're a small business that makes some money.
We're a non-business.
We're a non-business.
We're Giving Tuesday.
Yep. Free. No.
Take time to rate, review, and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. I'm Heather.
I'm Ryan. And we wish you lots and lots of conditional love.